We are approaching hibernating season, which is the coziest time to knit during the winter days, and we're going to do another Hiberknitalong. So if you enjoyed the mystery shawl knit-along, we're going to do the second annual Hiberknitalong starting December 26th. Okay, so I'm going to kick things off this Monday, November 1st. We're going to have a kit launch and you'll get to collect the book and the patterns if you want. So the difference between the Hiberknitalong and the mystery knit-along is you get to see the shawls. Do you want to see what we're going to knit in December? You get to pick between two shawls. So I've been working all year on this beautiful semicircle called the cabled trellis shawl. So this is one of the shawls that you can choose to cast on December 26th. But all of these patterns and the kits that I'm going to show you, they launch Monday, November 1st at 4 p.m. Amsterdam time. So that beautiful semicircle we can cast on and knit together, or you could choose to knit a triangle. This is the spiraling cables triangle. It's a little bit easier than the semicircle with smooth increases and those crisp cables, but it's really easy, and I'm going to share a lot of video tutorials as we Hiberknit along starting December 26th. So if you want to knit the cabled trellis shawl or the spiraling cables triangle, I'm going to show you all the techniques as we knit along, and both of these designs use the same amount of yarn. So if you want to collect a kit on November 1st, Monday at 4 p.m., we're going to have a lot of color palettes mixing our DK weight yarn, Westwool Tandem. So all of the Hiberknitalong shawls this year, both of the options are with Westwool Tandem. You're going to need 2 skeins of Westwool Tandem in DK weight, and that's about 500 yards total, all right? So 500 yards or 457 meters is what you need for the main color. And then I used a self-striping marled yarn for my contrast colors. So you can use 3 skeins of Spin Cycle's Dream State. This is their thicker marled yarn, more of a worsted weight type of thickness. So 2 skeins of tandem, 500 yards of DK weight for the main color, and you're going to need 150 yards of each color. One of the colors you just need 135 yards, but I chose 3 shades of different Spin Cycle colorways. So each kit of the Spin Cycle kits will have 3 different colorways that you can melt and just skip from one yarn to the next, and you get those beautiful color changes. And we're also going to have an alternative option using Shopplevola's Zauberball. So this yarn is a little bit thinner than the Spin Cycle. This is more of a worsted weight used to knit either of these shawls. And this fabric for the spiraling cables triangle, I used the Shoplevola Starkest 6. So this is more of a sport weight, kind of a sport DK weight, and there's really generous yardage on these balls. So you only need 1 ball. So you'll see some kits that have 3 skeins of Spin Cycle with Westwool, and others you'll find are just 1 ball. So you can have enough yarn with just 1 ball of this Starkest 6 yarn with our Spin Cycle. So lots of beautiful color options to choose from. You're going to find reds, greens, and blues, and purples, lots of different kit options. And all of those come out November 1st, and you can pick any shawl, okay? So you don't have to knit both shawls, but each kit has enough yarn to knit one of the shawl patterns. And this year, we're doing it a little bit differently. Instead of just signing up by getting the patterns online, you can still do that. So if you want to sign up, you can just get the single pattern digitally on Ravelry or Gumroad for either shawl pattern. But every single kit includes a signed copy of my new book. So this just arrived. It just came off the presses. This is Hiberknitting 2. So for the second year of the Hiberknitalong, both of the shawl patterns are in this Hiberknitting book. So you're going to get a print book and also a digital ebook download code. So if you get a kit, you're going to get the shawls and all the other patterns in this book. It contains 7 patterns total in print, and you get the digital version as well. But there's this beautiful sweater I'm wearing and a blanket. So you can watch ahead in this video. At the end of this video, I'm going to show you all 7 designs in detail that are included in Hiberknitting. But that's what you're going to get in the whole kit, is the yarn, the book. You're going to get a mug, our Hiberknitting mug, and a little needle gauge as well. So with the Hiberknitting mug, we have 3 colors this year. So you can have some cozy coffee and tea during the Hiberknitalong, and you're going to get 1 random color. So we have this beautiful lime, a gorgeous orange, rust color, and this evergreen color mug. So you'll get a surprise mug. And we developed some new little winter friends needle gauges. If you remember last year's mystery knit along, we did these forest friends that we debuted for these needle gauges. We made some winter friends. So we have a little hedgehog, a little reindeer, and a narwhal. You'll get one of these at random. So with each kit on November 1st, you'll get a random mug and a surprise little winter friend, one gauge. And they have holes for needle sizes that I use the most for all of my shawls and sweaters. And then the last thing with all these kits is a knit notes book. We made these beautiful new notebooks with lined and graph paper, and the graph paper is proportioned to specifically work perfectly for knit stitches. So it's not exactly the same width and height in the grid. It works really good for the proportions of knitting stitches. So you can make notes and use some handy references in that knits notebook for your winter knitting. So all of these will come out November 1st, and I'm really excited to work with cables because I haven't done that much before. So again, that cabled trellis shawl, it slip stitches and cables. So it's getting this elegant effect, but with slip stitches. It's really easy to do, but I'm going to show some video tutorials as we cast on December 26th. So if you want to participate, you can use absolutely any yarn that you like, and all the pattern details will be up on Ravelry on November 1st and on gumroad.com/westknits. All the knit along details will be up there. But both of these patterns are really textural and really invite that playful spirit of having that main color that unites all the contrasting tones, and those self-striping yarns just do all the color work for you. So pick your favorite kit on November 1st at 4 p.m. and you'll get all those goodies shipped out to you. If you get a Shopavola kit, one of them that looks like this, these will ship out in November. And if you get a spin cycle kit, we're going to be shipping these out in December, okay? They'll arrive in plenty of time before we cast on December 26th, but we'll ship these out in December. And anything you order on November 1st will get out in time for that December 26th cast on. So I can't wait to knit along with you some more, and we'll set up another Ravelry group and some hashtags on Instagram so we can get inspired after the Christmas is finished, that festivity day. And on December 26th, we'll cast on and make some new shawls. So I can't wait to knit along with you, and keep watching if you want to see a little tour of the designs in the Hiberkniting book. I'm really excited to share this new Hiberkniting book because it's been a couple years since we've done a print Westknits book, and I loved that Hiberkniting one with those cozy winter accessories, and I wanted to exaggerate those kind of quick projects and that cozy gauge by using all DK or worsted weight in this book. So all the projects are really quick to knit, and it's a mix of accessories and bigger projects like this sweater. So I'm wearing the Fantastic sweater that's on the cover of Hiberkniting 2, and you'll get all 7 patterns, including the 2 Hiberknitalong shawls. So you have the cabled trellis shawl. It's a really smooth semicircle that's not too big, not too small. It's not as huge as my big schlankets, but it's definitely not a small size. So you get a really great wrap with that DK weight gauge. And the spiraling cables triangle, this one is definitely more simple, and it starts really small. So this shawl starts at the tip, and you increase towards the border. And they have these really beautiful picot hems that are reversible, and it's a folded hem with that picot detail. And the Fantastic sweater, I really wanted to bring back those Fantastic stitches. So yeah, you see that on the cover, and as you flip through the pages of the book, you'll see lots of different samples of each garment. So every single design has 2 or 3 different colorways to inspire your color choosing process. And if you want to get a kit, we have these shawl kits. So we'll do some blanket kits as well. But this sweater, the Fantastic sweater, is really ideal for single skeins. So grab all those DK weight single skeins in your stash, or you could even hold 2 strands of fingering weight together for this Fantastic sweater. So the one I'm wearing, this is all in Westwool Tandem in DK weight, and the orange version you see in the book, the orange and cream, was a lot of stash fingering weights held double, mixing tweed and mohair, and you can really get cozy and dive into your stash as you're knitting in the winter. That's my favorite thing to do in winter, is knitting those big, cozy, thick projects that take, you a month to knit, and you're just surrounded by color and warmth. So if you really want a big project to keep your mind occupied this winter, it doesn't get much bigger than this Fantastitch blanket. So I took that Fantastitch theme of slip stitches and textures and applied it to this circular blanket. And this is a huge bedspread, giant throw for your couch. It is definitely a statement piece. And this is the large size. So the Fantastitch blanket has a small and a large size, so you can go really big with that Fantastitch blanket or stop early. So you cast on the same method. You just start the blanket, and if you want to make a smaller couch throw, you can do a picot bind off early. It's a folded picot hem. And this one's still quite large. It's big enough to get cozy with. Just you and your cats, you and your dog sitting and knitting, but this one doesn't take as much yarn. It's about half as much yarn, I think, for the small size. But, I mean, this large one, you're really going to love it if you go for that large size. It's just going to be your go-to cozy knitting blanket. And then you'll find some hats. So along with these big sweaters and blankets in the book, I put 2 new hats, a matching Fantastitch hat for the book. And this one's a slouchy style hat with a twisted rib brim. So this one's also with DK weight yarn or worsted weight, okay? So for me, DK weight and worsted weight are the same thing, especially with like shawls and hats. One is a little bit thicker, but it's all about color first. So grab some little leftover color pops of DK or worsted weight, and you can have this slouchy Fantastitch hat. And then I also made a matching hat for the cabled trellis shawl. So you have a cabled trellis hat. And this yarn is 1 skein of tandem and 1 skein of spin cycle dream state, or any DK worsted weight yarn. So if you have something like this, 1 skein of DK for the main color and 1 skein of a color pop. This could be a solid pop. You could do a hand-dyed multicolor for that contrast color, or that spin cycle marled yarn. It's really gorgeous to see those color changes. So just 1 and 1, main color and contrast color for that cabled trellis hat. And then what else? We have 7 designs. I think we need a cowl. We've got 2 hats, 2 shawls, sweater, blanket. This is my favorite cowl shape. And the fun thing about this cowl is it's shaped, so you can see where it casts on here, and it's knit in the round. So as you flip it inside out, there's no right and wrong side, and it keeps your ears really warm. So if you pop it over your head like a hood, I use this for biking in the winter, or if you fold it down, it's just an extra double thick layer, but when you fold it down like this over your neck, it's a quadruple thick fabric. So it's really insulating, especially if you live up in Canada, or if you're up in Norway, Denmark. I know what it's like in the winters there, and sometimes a fingering weight shawl just doesn't cut it. So all DK weight, lots of cables and slip stitches, and all the color work is much easier than it looks. Because with all the patterns and the slip stitch techniques, you're never working with 2 colors at the same time. It's always just 1 color, and then the next contrast color as you slip stitches. So really easy step-by-step written instructions. And those are all the accessories. So if you make them all in the book, you're going to be really bundled up and warm this winter. And you can knit along and take notes in the print book. And we have this print book available individually as well. So you'll get this print book in the kits that I just talked about earlier in this video on November 1st. But if you want a single book, we'll have these at stephenandpenelope.com. And if you prefer digital copies, you're going to get digital PDFs, a code. You'll get a digital code along with your book. Okay, so the print book comes with the PDFs. If you don't want the print book, we always do things digitally. So you can collect these individual patterns. They're all available as single downloads on Ravelry and Gumroad, or as an ebook download. And you can get the whole collection, and I think that should keep you busy this winter. I've been knitting these all spring and summer, and I just couldn't wait to share these because these are kind of my go-to accessories for walking out the door, throwing on these thick cowls, and these super warm cabled shawls, and they're really customizable with color. So I can't wait to see your progress. You can share all these HIberknitting projects with HIberknitting2, or just hashtag Westknits, and we can knit along this winter. And if you're choosing one of the shawls, these are the featured shawls for the HIberknitalong. So of course you can knit anything you want at any time, but on December 26th, we're gonna host a really fun knit along with a lot of inspiration and prizes focused on that cabled trellis shawl and the spiraling cables triangle. So let's get busy knitting this winter, and I can't wait to see what colors you pick out.